Class, how's it going? All right, now we're going to move on to line work, and we're going to get into some line tools and why is important. The first thing I'm going to do is go to the plus key and add a color card, and that's just our blank piece of paper. And then I'm going to hit the lock to lock it down. When it's selected, that's why you see these boxes here. But if you lock it, you'll never hit it again, and that's just like great, and that's just your empty piece of paper. All right, so I'm using a mouse, and I usually don't use a mouse when talking about line work, so bear with me. But if I have to move this recording to my Cintiq, I will, but I don't think I'll have to. We're just going to draw out a few lines, and then once we draw out a line in any of these tools, I want you to take a look at your tool properties. Take a look at what happens when you interact with all of these tools. Different tool properties show up. And that's important for you to notice. And maybe I should have mentioned that with the interface, because also with the interface, if you look at all of these tools, they have some of them that have a little triangle on the bottom of the tool. If you hold it down, it means that there are more tools or tool sets underneath them. So pay attention to that. But I'll walk you through this, and we're going to lay down some lines. And then once I hit the line tool, I'm going to select a line that's just say about, a 20-point line weight so that you can see it. And I'm going to add a drawing layer. So I'm going to go add drawing. I can also hit this little tiny icon here. I usually do that, but I'm going to say add drawing. We're going to keep them all vector, and we're just going to leave it as, I can just leave it called drawing, or I'm just going to call it lines. Okay, leave them all vector and say add and close. All right, and then I'm just going to make some lines, and I'm going to hold the shift key so that it keeps it safe. And if you hold shift, you'll notice that it will do it in like angles or integrate angles at like 15 degrees. But I'm going to hold the shift key 1, 2, I'm going to turn off my field guide here, 3, 4, 5. I'm also going to hit I'd make it like a pound sign, or hashtag. Okay, and I think we can start with that for now. Now, one of the things that I like and love about this program is the versatility of the line and line work that you can do in this program versus Flash. Now, Flash, you have to use the brush tool in order to get anything tapered, or so I'm going to hold the O key to increase the size of this. And I don't have any pressure sensitivity. Let me see if I can use my Cintiq for this. Let's try that and give it a whirl. Yeah, and then I'm going to zoom in. Yeah, see? And so when I do that with the brush tool, I'm basically getting vectors on both sides. And you can see, and then the only way I can basically taper this is if I start using, basically adjusting points and stuff like this. But the beautiful thing about Flash is that you can do this with line and do it very well and effectively and cut down on the amount of points and nonsense that this makes. You want to really minimize the amount or optimize the amount of all of these points, because the more of these knots that you have, and they are knots, they do really tie up your ability to manipulate the drawings. All right, so the difference between this to brush is you see that the vector is on the outside, but here you'll notice that the vector is on the inside. Okay, so this tutorial is also brought to you by the letters A and V. Okay, so remember that A and V. This is to select, and these are also similar in Flash, actually. They're practically identical. All right, so I'm going to select this line tool, or this particular line, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a tapered line style. So I'm going to go into my tool properties, and notice that it's in the lines and styles that I'm looking for are not in here per se. I can change the line weight or the line thickness, okay, but I can't change the actual properties of it until I move to the select tool, and the select tool gives me the ability to change things around. So I'm going to move this interface around so you don't need to see the drawing view as well. So I'm going to select the first one, and I'm going to just select under here tapered thickness, and I'm going to boost the maximum size. I'm going to select another one and call tapered beginning and boost the maximum size. Do another one called tapered end, which is just basically a flip of the other one, and say boost the maximum size. Then I'm going to pick another one called fat ends, which I really like sometimes, and that's just boost the maximum, and you can boost the minimum size as well, how much or how minimal you have that. So that's great. So I'm going to select the last one, and I'm tempted just to leave that one as uniform, but let's just say, well, you could do like curved above. I'm going to zoom in here and you can see what curved above does. Curved above just basically bubbles it up against the vector. Okay, let's just do that and I'll show you this. And you say, well, that's great and all, but how well do these interact with each other and can they be manipulated? And the answer is yes. And the beautiful thing is that if I go to the white arrow key, which I like to call what's called the contour edit tool, but it's also a tool that edits points. If I just select this and pull it and push it, it maintains its volumes and it maintains its thicknesses, and you're allowed to push and pull these in these line styles. You can also select the points and they give you your Beziers, right? Side note, you will not get a Bezier on a flat line. You got to pull on it first. You got to click on it and drag it down, okay? So yeah, you get these really cool line styles, right? And you're doing this. And the beautiful part about this is it's line. It's not brush like I had to do here, which means that guess how many points are involved? 2. Look how many points are involved in here. Like 5 dozen, right? So we don't really want that. This is a lot easier and better to manipulate and better to work with by a mile. So why use brush, you might ask? Well, brush is good for sketching. Brush is good, but it's not great for final line. Not always, okay? So we're going to take this and just want to show you some of this abilities to what this can do. Also, if I go back to the line style and select a line, I have the ability to make different textures. Chalk, charcoal, rough, felt rough, felt, gradient, bumpy, thin, all the things that, well, eat your heart out, Flash. There's no way in hell you're going to be able to ever do this a day in your life. So this is what's so great about this program is its ability to do these things and create these different styles of animation. Notice that every style in Flash, or every show in Flash, looks the same. It's got that Teen Titans Go thick outline. It's because that's all it's capable of doing. But this is much, 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 much more powerful and can do all of these great things that that Flash can't do. Harmony actually does like textures. But to flash textures is like trying to feed steak to a baby. It's just going to throw them up. It just does not like it. All right, so you have all these textures, and yes, you can even create your own in Photoshop. You can make your own textures. All right, and then you can also click to none. Okay, and then yeah, at the end, I can also just say uniform and go back to uniform line style and boost that up. I also like this. You have different ends or end caps. This end cap is set to flat. You can move it to round and to round. Okay. Also, what's also incredible is if you hold down the contour edit tool and go to pencil editor, you can copy line styles to other lines. So if, let's say I really like what I did here, I can say copy, and then I can select the other one and say paste. I can do paste more than one. I can say paste, paste. Or I can undo and say, I like this fat ends one. I can say copy, paste, and I can copy the line styles here. I can also adjust its thicknesses here randomly. And what's beautiful about this is, guess what? How many points are involved? 2. Still just 2, not 5 dozen. Okay, this is something that Flash cannot do. All right. So that's just part of some of the line work and the things that we're going to do. I'm going to cut this one short and we're going to do this in 2 parts.